Hey, this is Kyle Carver from Strong Dads. Strong Dads wants to thank Crimer Beer House for sponsoring today's Strong Dads podcast. The beer house was started in 1982 by the Crimer family. Since that time, they have become a Cincinnati favorite. If you're looking for an incredible meal and an incredible setting, you have to try Crimer's Beer House down on Route 128 in Cleves, Ohio. All right. Hey, guys, what's going on? Welcome to Strong Dads here, doing another show here with Merle and doing it over the video chat again. This has become our new norm, unfortunately, Merle. What's going on today?
Well, I'm, just visiting through Zoom again.
Yeah, it's kind of working out there. So I don't actually see you in person. We just see each other.
Yeah, actually,
nice.
I probably should explain to people what you look like as you're sitting there in your pajamas and you've got your feet, up propped up on the wall. You just
got my slippers on.
Yeah,
this is tough, man. You people have to work from home. You just get to sit around your rockers all day. This is tough.
Yeah, no, we're doing pretty good. Definitely, we are seeing much more regular behaviors that seem to be part of our everyday now with this COVID-19, whether it's doing Zoom conferences or not going out of the house much. I know I was just explaining to you, excuse me, that our county that we live in was just put on a level orange restriction. So you're not even allowed out on the roads, period, unless it's doing essential business. Otherwise, it's $1,000 fine. So the new normal is even coming with a little bit of strength.
Yeah, that new normal is not so normal, huh?
Yeah. So we definitely don't want this to be the forever normal. So,
yeah. Well, cool. Well, hey, go ahead, Merle. Just take over.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's a little bit weird, when we do this, over the phone network like this. There's a little bit of a delay. So
there is
the natural delay that I have in my brain, and then I have to add the delay from the phone network. The things really do get caught up.
Yes.
But, what are we going to talk about today?
Well, today I'm excited. I think this will be cool. Again, because of what's going on in our world, it is all anybody's talking about, and we want to talk about it, but we also kind of want to look at some of the positives. And today's show, we're going to talk about how soon we forget, and the idea that we should never forget these times that we're in right now, but also understand that these times are going to pass, and when they do pass, we don't want to forget everything that we went through and kind of realize where we came from and where we're at now. So I definitely think it'll be a good show because we're going to get an opportunity to talk a little bit about the positive aspects of when the COVID-19 is long and gone. What is our life going to look like, and what are we going to remember from these times? For a lot of people, these difficult times that we're going through, and what are we going to take away from these times? And kind of moving forward and trying to better ourselves as strong dads, better our family to kind of help improve. Just the idea that we don't want to forget about these times as much as some people right now are like, golly, I want to get this over with. Just the idea that we don't want to forget about it because there's a lot of good learning we can do from these times. So I think it'll be a good show.
Yeah. So I think talking about, we all have these natural defaults in our behaviors and our habits that we do. And the defaults come from just whatever we think seems to be working for us, and usually the path of least resistance in terms of what we're going to do on a daily basis. And sometimes when you take on a new change, you start to see some benefits from it. And the challenge here is when you are forced to do that, you go, well, this is how we have to roll. So you're being made to do it. Then when that pressure starts to leave, will you continue the behavior or the action, even if it was a good thing? It's one thing if you're doing it right now and you hate doing it and you don't see it helping you, like doing these kind of conferences versus actually being live in the studio. But the idea that, will I continue? I can't tell you how many times I've been on different retreats and different things like that. And man, in the middle of that retreat, just thinking, oh man, I'm on fire right now. This is so awesome. Even going to
Oh
a
yeah.
concert, you might be at a concert and just really enjoying it, or really just whether a party or something, you're like, man, I hope this thing never ends. This is so much fun. And then all of a sudden you get out of that retreat, and 2 or 3 days later, you were on the mountaintop, but 2 or 3 days later, you're back to being your old crusty self again.
Oh yeah.
Wait, I was just walking with Jesus, and now I am right back down the valley where I was. And I think, that's,
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah, recognizing what our natural defaults are and what we need to do to put into place. So, part of, I think, this show today will hopefully be a challenge to our guys out there listening, our strong dads, that make yourself some promises. Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Like you and I were talking a little bit before about the idea of we're having family dinners. We're all around the house. Yeah. We're having to interact with the kids and our wives and stuff like that. And there's some good that's coming out of that. So what do we want to promise that we'll keep on doing? So from now on, I'm always going to live like this instead of like we used to. What's the phrase? Seize the day, carpe diem. You're probably too old.
Whoa.
Is that you?
That's an old. I think that's an old saying, isn't it?
Well, I used to use it back in the 1800s when I was talking to my family.
Yeah. That's right. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, before we get too much more into the show, let's thank our sponsors here. So
heck yeah.
I want to thank Mansfield Insurance Agency for coming alongside Strong Dads. The Mansfield Insurance Agency has been around since 1981. They are dedicated to the service needs of your insurance needs, whether it's an individual or business. Any need that you have, please contact Mansfield Insurance, as they serve clients throughout Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky.
Cool. Yeah, Strong Dads also definitely wants to thank the Crimer's Beer House down on Route 128 in Cleves, Ohio. So definitely go down there. The beer house was started in 1982 by the Crimer family. So go down there, check out the beer house. So if you're looking for an incredible meal in an incredible setting, definitely go down there. I had an opportunity to go down there and see Mark Crimer down there, and I got to talk to him, and he said business is still chugging along, but it's definitely not as not the normal. So he's definitely still grateful for all the customers coming in. So yeah, definitely go down there, get some good pork chops. I keep throwing the pork chops out there. These little
they do have other things on the menu.
Oh, they do? Oh yeah. They do. They got those little onion straws, right? Those are down there.
Yeah, those are good.
Those are pretty good. Oh yeah.
So did you take your flag down for him?
I did. So on my days when I'm not at the firehouse, I have a little side flag business that I do. I sell wood flags. I always I have to be careful how I word this. I say I have burnt flags. I can't really say that. So I make wood American flags, and I burn the stripes. So I took him down there, just appreciation for him coming alongside of Strong Dads and believing in what we believe in. So yeah, I had an opportunity. I went down there and talked to Mark and gave him a flag. So he was very appreciative of it. And so
that's cool.
Cool stuff.
Yeah, so your flags are pretty awesome. So, and definitely thanking Mark. Thanks for giving that to him, because we do appreciate what he's doing for us. Mm-hmm. So anyway, let's get into a little bit of the background story of this. So, let's, as you mentioned at the front of the show, coronavirus is been around now for a little bit, and it's going to continue to be around. Even as we talk, even if things let up, I just saw an article today, in fact, that the city of Wuhan, China, is opening back up slowly here for business. And so we're probably at least 3, 4, 5 weeks away from us having that opportunity, just depending on how things roll. But nonetheless, we are still in a major change. And so acknowledging that, I think, is really important, especially acknowledging that to your family, to your wife, to your kids. You and I were talking, and I know you're going to have to probably help your daughter here in just a second with her schooling.
Yep.
All of our kids are on this e-learning thing, basically doing schooling kind of like as you and I are doing it right now online. with
Yeah.
the conversation. Other things that have just been huge markers of the presence of COVID-19 is this unemployment rate.
Oh yeah.
I mean, even if you're not unemployed, there's a very good chance that your employment looks different. And
Oh
whether it's the number of hours you're working or the type of work you're doing, but just the sheer number of people that are unemployed and the impact that that's going to have on our economy is not something that we're all of a sudden going to flip a switch, a week from
exactly.
today, and we're going to be rolling at full steam.
Yeah.
But we're going to be paying the price for this. I have a prayer out there for especially all of our small business, but any business. The longer that they have to go out of business or not functioning right now, the less chance they have of recovering and getting back on the tracks. And so hopefully we're not going to see huge numbers of bankruptcies and people going out of business, because
Right.
then that means the unemployment rate stays at an all-time high. So
Yeah, and I mean, if you are, I know in the city of Dayton we have a brewery that just converted all their stuff into making hand sanitizer. So kind of adapting to the times we have, and I mean it's uncertain times for sure. I haven't been around as long as you have, Merle. But I know
even in all
neither of us.
my days, son, in all my days, I've not seen anything like it.
Yeah, I mean, look at churches. I mean, it's crazy these times, and we are very fortunate in these times. As much as it's easy to look at the negative aspect of it. I mean, what if this would have happened in the '90s? Would we have the technology, the ability to do what
Right.
what you and I are doing right now? So as much as it's easy to look at the negatives, it's also just as easy to look at some of the positives. I mean, the fact that churches can stream online. I know where you and I go to church. I mean, heck, they put it up on the news channel. So it is uncertain times, very crazy times, but we also have the ability to still see each other and still interact with each other. So yes, these are crazy times that neither you or I have ever seen before, and hopefully never see again. But I think it's it's important just to kind of the whole point to never forget these times. I know I made reference in our last show to the idea of when 9/11 happened, and just that those times felt very uncertain as well, and there was so much that went on. There was a lot of questions that happened with 9/11. After 9/11. That whole statement of never forget kind of came from that. And, we kind of really came together as a country, and we really kind of bonded in a way that we've never bonded before. And the hope is that when this is all said and done, that a similar feeling and a similar pride in our country and a similar pride in each other and can kind of come back, and we can kind of bring that back, because that's what's really going to get us through times like this is being with each other, counting on each other in ways. I know I have a lot of older neighbors, and not that I'm anything special, but just going and be like, hey, how are you doing? You guys doing okay? You need anything?
Yeah.
They don't have the ability to get out and go to the store because they're restricted in some regards. So it's that idea that we never want to forget these times. So when COVID-19 is over and done, like, can I make the promise that I'm still going to check on my neighbors?
Right.
Like, because that's what we did after 9/11. We were a country that were like, do whatever for each other. And how soon we forget that. Like, I don't know. It's crazy times right now. We need to never forget what we're going through right now.
Yeah, one of the things that I think Americans, and as we get farther away from our beginning days of this country, we were a country of pioneers, of tough, resilient people. And whether it was, World War II or the Civil War or Civil Rights era, one of the things that this country has prided itself on, not because we are not without sin, because we are with plenty of sin, but the idea that we fight through it, we fight to make it right. We have gotten more apathetic as life has gotten more comfortable for us. And I think God throws or allows these kinds of things to happen to see really what our fabric is made of. And so when we're talking about what is our fabric made of, and if our fabric is just made of whatever makes me comfortable, whatever is I'm doing for my needs, for my desires, and I'm not taking into account my brother, my neighbor, I'm not going to last very long. And so I think this has been a really important, what we'll call come to Jesus meeting, where we really say, what's important? What am I going to fight for? And am I going to have that true American grit, that American spirit that us as Americans have become proud of? But, we have forgotten what the generations before us have had to go through. And so for that reason, I think this is that never forget thing of, well, what did this generation, what did this era actually do because of the COVID-19? What did we do that indicates and shows that we still have a fabric to us, a fabric of strength? And so I want to talk a little bit about what are we going to do from these days forward that is going to show ourself, our family, and our community that we are a different person. We are a resilient person. And so the biggest challenge here, first off, to our strong dads is, come on, let's adapt. Let's adapt. Again, I'm putting aside here the idea if I'm truly dealing with somebody with COVID-19, then we're not, saying pick yourself up by your bootstraps. But for the rest of us that are doing life, then it's time for us to say, what do I need to do to adapt? How am I going to make this? I'm going to be a survivor, and I am going to humble myself and make the changes that I need to make. All right, so let's talk about the advice side of things. What are we going to actually do moving forward after the COVID-19 days, even though COVID-19 is never going to be totally after. It's going to be no different than a lot of the other viruses that we have, whether it's chicken pox or whatever. We will always have coronavirus. It's just going to be a matter of how we adapted to it and dealt with it. And so what are going to be some of the things that hopefully we've recognized as, hey, these were kind of good things. Maybe we should keep doing them.
Yeah. I mean, this is something I'm very guilty of, Merle. This is bad to say.
Then maybe you shouldn't say it.
Well, I'm going to. I don't even care.
Oh, man, you're bold. You're bold.
Well, I was good. Well, it's not that bad. So before this, I mean, washing my hands was never something that was like a top priority for me.
Yeah.
It was never something, outside of using the restroom, like it was not something that I did on a regular basis. I'm not a germaphobe. So I, washing my hands, especially being in the business that I'm in, it should be something that I prioritize, but it just never has been something.
Yeah.
And through all this, I can't tell you the number of times I wash my hands now. And I don't do it for myself. I do it because, I have 2 young girls and I have a wife at home,
Mm-hmm.
and I understand that I could potentially, come in contact and I could be exposed to something, and I don't want to give that to my family.
Right.
So washing my hands is definitely something I hope when this is all said and done, like you said, it's never going to be over. But my hope is when we get back to a little bit of normalcy, I hope that washing my hands is still something that I prioritize, that I still understand the value in washing my hands.
Yeah.
For me, I'm a big handshaker. And I hope that we can get back to feeling comfortable doing that, because the whole idea of what a handshake actually means, an empty hand, that I'm not a threat to you. So I think there's a lot of value in shaking people's hands. I hope we can get back to that idea of making sure we can still do that. And again, they kind of go hand in hand, because, my hope is that I realize that something as easy as touching someone else's hands that is dirty or has a virus, and then I go and touch my face. Like, my hope is that I don't hesitate to shake someone's hand after this. But I also understand that as long as I wash my hands after I shake someone's hand, that I can still have that practice in my life that I think means a lot. I know, especially in the business that I'm in, shaking hands is something we do a lot of, and it's really a sign of respect for the other person that I'm working with. So, right. For me, as much as washing my hands has not been something that I prioritize in all this, I hope it's something that I kind of carry with me when this is kind of get back to some normalcy.
Yeah. Well, I think the washing the hands thing is kind of an interesting thing because um, there's a catch-22 in that one, you can become almost phobic, that you are, like you said, the germaphobe. And so if we obsess about it, it becomes a bigger issue than it maybe needs to be.
Sure.
We do know that our body actually builds a level of immunity through exposure to various things. And so I think we need to proceed forward with a greater consciousness. But um, as much as I want to wash hands more, and we need to be more aware of that, we also don't need to become obsessive compulsive
Sure.
and go crazy over the top. I'm with you too on the handshaking thing. I was brought up as a person that's how one man extends openness to another man, and shaking hands is part of that. I think what I feel probably moving towards is always offering that handshake still when we get through this, but respecting when somebody might not be comfortable with it. So it almost might be one of those things where you almost ask, hey, you want to shake hands, or you want, just like hugs.
You gotta get consent to shake.
Yeah, I want consent. That's right. So we probably might see some level of, I want to make sure that the person that I'm working with is comfortable.
That's a good point.
So that'll be interesting. There's something that I think that needs to come out of Corona. That is a heavy conversation in this country, and that is the divisiveness that has come about from our political parties and President Trump. I will kind of pin this on him for right now. And again, some of this has been good, some of it's not, but the use of the term fake news. There's a huge responsibility that needs to come out of this, both for journalists and for us as the people. Something big needs to change with this, because I think part of our problem is that because we got so much into the fake news label, like everything that comes out on a news station is fake if we don't like it. If it's not what I want to hear, I call it fake news, which then I think caused a slower movement of people doing what they needed to do. They weren't basing their decision on facts. What are we going to do with this fake news thing? How are we going to start to react to when news comes down? We've been under this whole idea that I don't know if I can trust anything that the news media says. And that probably put a hiccup in our reaction. You and I even had conversations. Oh, this is all overblown. I don't know what I can believe. And again, I think this country's done a pretty amazing job of trying to flatten the curve. But, I wonder if we would have flattened it even more had we done something back in late December or January.
Sure.
But anyway, what are your thoughts?
The whole idea of fake news, and, to me, the fact that we have so many news outlets is what kind of separates us from other countries. I think it's an awesome thing that we have different political ideas coming from different news networks. As much as I disagree with certain policies and certain ideas, certain stuff, I still think it's good that we have that. I don't think it's necessarily good that we have fake news, but I think when we start to, whatever channel you tune into, we really need to start now more than ever differentiate between opinions and facts. Because you can get opinions on darn near any station you turn on. And I think that's kind of where that whole idea of fake news is kind of morphed from. It's more from the idea of opinions and because this person disagrees with this person, and there's a lot of opinions that come into that. So my hope is when this is all said and done, and it's sad that it's kind of taken something so drastic as this, for the idea of fake news to really kind of come to the forefront. I hope that we kind of look at different news outlets, and it's fine to listen to those, even if they are opinion-based, but understand that, especially like right now, regardless of what political party you listen to or whatever political party you follow, like right now more than ever, we should be listening to doctors. They're the ones that probably know what really is going on. So I think it's important to know, kind of consider the source. I guess we got a big takeaway from the whole idea of fake news. So what is the source that it's coming from, and kind of use that to differentiate between fact and fiction, or opinion and facts.
Right.
So that would be my biggest thing when it comes to fake news. Again, I think it's good that we have different news outlets, because if you go to a different country, if you go somewhere else that doesn't have the democracy that we have here, you're going to get one news outlet, and it's going to be what the government wants to tell you. So I think it's really cool that we have different news outlets. So
yeah, we're kind of interesting in that in China, it's like going to the restaurant and there's only one thing on the menu, eat it whether you like it or not. Here, there's so many things on the menu that you don't know exactly what would be best for you or what you would like. And so somewhere in the middle is that idea of, just like when we take our kids to the restaurant, you can have this or this, but you can't have everything, because not everything is good. And so we have to really start to pare it down. I think this is going to be interesting too, to see what journalists do, and journalism in general. I think this is a call to journalists to start. And I have a buddy who's a journalist, and he takes it extremely much at heart to be delivering the facts as they present themselves, because we don't always have all the facts. But sure, there's a responsibility to our journalists here to get with the facts, get with the real story. And also, if you're going to be delivering opinion, state it as such. I don't have a problem listening to an opinion show if I know it's an opinion show. But when I'm listening to, whatever news station, and they're just calling themselves, the news, then I just need the facts. I don't need a slant, or they're only showing certain news stories that seem to fit the narrative. So a lot of times they're telling the truth, but they're only telling certain stories.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be really interesting. How about this? We have talked numerous times about comfort. And comfort is the work of Satan. Comfort is, when I seek every day to just make myself comfortable, whether it's my air conditioning or the luxuries in my car or the clothing I wear, and I get so passive because I'm so comfortable, I really don't want it to change. And so it causes apathy. I think it's one reason why we were slow to react to a lot of things that were going on, because me having to change was going to take me out of comfort. And so I think it's going to be really interesting to see how we handle what we remember and seek in terms of our comfort and our entitlement versus, hey, you know what? I can live without a little bit of air conditioning, or I can live without this or that, or whatever it is. Obviously, we're all going to be impacted in some way that makes us a little less comfortable. And I wonder how quickly we will go back to feeling entitled and seeking comfort.
That's so true. And, one of the things that I think would be really interesting to see, in this country in today's age, anxiety and depression is really at the forefront of a lot of people. And my hope and my prayer is that something so significant as this doesn't increase those numbers, but I have a suspicion that it will. So, there's a lot of fear right now. When this is over, will those fears still exist? Will that anxiety, people being in groups and being and congregating together, will that be a fear for them? These need to be times where we really look at kind of our core, at our belief system, and understand that fear is a real thing. But where you put your faith in will ultimately kind of determine how that fear plays out in your life. And my hope is that when my girls are 20 and 30 years old, and someone's like, oh, you were a kid during that COVID-19 thing, my hope is that they don't say, yeah, it was a really scary time. And part of that is because of how I'm portraying what's going on in this world to my girls. Because I could induce a lot of fear and a lot of panic into my family, and I may go to the opposite, to the extreme of it, and play it off a little bit more than it needs to be. But we can build up a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety in these times, especially to our family, to our kids. So one of my challenge, my advice would be to understand where we put our faith in, and because of who I put my faith in, that fear doesn't play out in some ways as it may for other people who don't have a faith, that it looks a little bit different for them. So just understand that we can induce a lot of fear and a lot of panic into our kids. So how you kind of play that out is going to be up to you. So just try and make some positive memories, do some puzzles, so that way when my girls are 20, they're like, yeah, it was kind of a weird time. I don't remember a whole lot of it. I had a lot of fun with mom and daddy, playing at home a lot, just like you're saying, eating meals.
Yeah, I think you bring up a great point. I think it's huge. Your kids are not going to remember COVID-19 most likely for how many people got sick. They're going to remember what the atmosphere was in their home. And, I think back, one of I grew up in the 77, 78 blizzard days, and we were out of school for about a month. Wow. Again, that's not quite this situation, but it's got a ring to it. And my memory of that blizzard was casted by my dad. And my dad, his whole approach to that blizzard was, this is awesome. This is an adventure. Now, again, not trying to equate the two, because we have people dying and this is a sickness. But the idea was, we're not going to stay locked down and let this create fear in us. And so we were out doing stuff and being busy, and my dad just embraced it. And each one of us kids, we took it on and embraced it as well. So I think that what we show our kids right now is going to be huge. What will they remember from these days?
Yeah. And I mean, when this is kind of past, my hope is that we really embrace churches, congregating together. How cool, what a privilege we have in this country to whatever faith you believe in, whatever religion you have, we have the ability to go freely into those churches. When this is all done, my hope is that we get back to that people really seek churches, because right now more than ever, this is a time for our churches to step up. And I think for the most part, our churches absolutely have, and they're doing what needs to be done. So when this is done, let's not forget about our churches. Right now, it's so easy to lean on our churches because that's kind of all we have right now, in some regards. So when this is done, don't forget about our churches. Lean into what our churches offer. They don't just offer for the needy people in COVID-19 times. Remember, our churches are there for us in the good times and in the bad times. Right now, we see our churches stepping up in the really bad times, really, terrible times in our country right now. So let's not forget about our churches when stuff is good, because last time I checked, Jesus still wants to be a part of our life, even in the good times. He still wants to celebrate those with us. Yes, we should he is a predominant figure. He is someone that absolutely we lean into when times suck, right now. But don't forget about him when your kids graduate college. Celebrate with him. He wants to be a part of those times, not just in these times.
Yeah. Well, I think it's we're recording this during Holy Week, the week prior to Easter, and one of the things that we often talk about in the church setting is the folks that show up only on Christmas and Easter. Well, in this particular season, we're not going to be able to show up at Easter to church. And so that leads me to thinking, I pray that those folks that have been experiencing this COVID-19 and they've talked more and more through prayer to Jesus, that when they can get back in church, that they don't make it a seasonal thing, that they make it a regular thing. And so our challenge here today for all of our strong dads out there is don't make this seasonal. Don't make this an event of a one-timer. If you've felt like, man, this COVID-19 thing has really just kind of humbled me a little bit, well, it's time to give some praise. And so challenge yourself, challenge your family, challenge your buddy. that get your butt off the couch and let's go to church. All right, let's be part of a church community, because as you said just before, our churches by and large have been stepping up during this, whether they're providing resources or prayer or just humor, different things that we're doing. So I pray that as our challenge here, that we would see our dads step up and make church a regular part of their family's lifestyle, so that they will never forget from this day forward.
Yeah. So kind of a quick note on this. Jenny actually was talking about this. She was listening to a podcast that wasn't ours, Merle. I know. I can't believe it either.
I can't believe you let her do it. Why?
Unbelievable. So she made
He needs to be quarantined.
She does. And I thought it was really cool what she said. She listened to a podcast and the person made kind of a cool correlation that this Easter will be the closest we've come to being back in Jesus time, because just like Jesus' disciples stayed indoors because they were fearful, they were fearful of man. We're a little bit more fearful of something, this virus, but we're waiting for Jesus. Right. And we're going to be inside our houses. We're going to be quarantined in our houses for this Easter, waiting for Jesus to return. And I think it's kind of a cool mindset to look at that. Yes, it is fearful to go outside and to be with other people, but also understand we're waiting for Jesus to come back, and that is what we should celebrate. Yes, this Easter is going to look a lot different for people. There's probably not going to be Easter egg hunts with your cousins, but we get the time to celebrate and kind of really evaluate what what this holiday is really about, and it's celebrating the return of Jesus. That's what we should hold on to. And I think our churches are doing a good job of constantly reminding us of that. But just kind of a cool little takeaway when she said that, I was like, that's pretty neat. Very true. So,
yeah. Well, hey, we want to wrap it up. So we do want to thank all of our strong dads out there for listening. We do challenge you guys to step it up, be the leader in your home. Even if it's a silent leader, be the leader. Show your kids strength. Show them the calmness that you have through this challenging time. Show them who you're leaning on for that calmness through Christ. Be willing to have good conversation with your kids, to just let them know, what your fears are, but how you're taking care of those fears. So those are our challenges. We do want to also thank our sponsors. We want to thank Kramer's Beer House and Mansfield Insurance for coming alongside of us and continuing to be strong sponsors for the Strong Dads podcast. Kyle, you have any last things you want to say?
We got to do a shout out for Rock Solid Families.
Absolutely.
I'll do that.
You do that.
Yeah,
go ahead.
So,
toot our horn.
Okay. Yes, I will. So if you guys are out there, you want to talk to somebody, you need just someone to vent to besides your wife, give Merle and Linda a call. They would love to talk with you, talk you through these difficult times. You can reach Rock Solid Families at 812-576-7625, and that's Rock is a 7625 for all you tech savvy people or old school people, however you want to look at it.
Yeah, I think that's more old school.
Yes, definitely. Is that old school? Okay. Yeah. So definitely give Rock Solid Families a phone call. They would love to talk to you, talk through these times. So Merle, you have your email at hutch@rocksolidfamilies.org. I don't quite have an email yet.
You don't have one yet. I basically filter everything that comes through and decide whether you get to read it or not.
They took our essential personnel out, so they can't create an email for me right now, but they'll get to it soon.
All right. What are your final words?
My final words: go out there and be some strong dads.
Hey, this is Merle Hutchinson from Strong Dads. Strong Dads wants to thank Mansfield Insurance Agency in Bright, Indiana for sponsoring today's Strong Dads podcast. Established in 1981, the Mansfield Insurance Agency has been dedicated to the individuals and businesses in Bright, Indiana, serving clients throughout Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky.